Hospitality Influencer Show by Raj Hospitality. Our today's guest of honor is none other than a market leader in the tourism industry, very dynamic, very influential, and a great human being, Shri James Kodendra. Please welcome James Kodendra. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
How are you doing, sir, today?
Very well. Today is a good day. It's been raining yesterday.
Okay.
Bright morning. Thank you very much.
For all the viewers, I just would like to have a small brief about Mr. James Kodendra. He started his career with Tata Tea in the year 1987 in the tea plantations as an assistant manager plantations and moved on to the company's marketing division later. In the year 1983, started his career with Concord Tours and Travels, an outbound tour and travel company as managing partner. In 2002, started Concord Voyages India Private Limited as the managing director, inbound tour company. Both companies are today a leader in the field of travel and tourism. He is also the managing director of Calypso Eco Lodges and Camps, KELC, which started 2010 promoting eco lodges and camps, and today the Hornbill Camp at Tattekad is one of the most famous one. Concord Exotic Voyages today is India's leading inbound tour company with over 150 staff in its offices, Delhi covering North India, Nepal and Bhutan, Goa covering Central India, and Kerala covering South India, handles almost 60,000 tourists in India. Concord also have its presence in Sri Lanka as Concord Exotic Voyages Lanka Private Limited, covering Sri Lanka and Maldives. Concord also operates charters to Goa. The main source of overseas market are Russia, Czech Republic, and other Eastern European countries, Western Europe, UK, USA, and Canada. Concord is represented in these overseas market with its own strong representation. Concord has also won the National Tourism Award and as the #1 tour operator. James Korendraji is also very active in Thai chapter. He was the chairman, founder, convener, and secretary of Kerala Travel Mart Society. Was the president for Cochin Yacht Club. Was a member of Roundtable, member of CIL Golf Club, member of Rotary Club of Cochin. James Korendraji is the president of SCOL Cochin. There are so many other things about him, but I think as we are running short of time, so we would like to close down. Welcome to the show once again, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, a small questionnaire for you. Mr. James' journey up and downs, the inspiration story, how did you begin a humble way and your positioning today as one of the largest inbound operators in India?
Well, as I said, my initial career was with Tata Tea in the tea gardens, and then thereon I moved on to the marketing operations of the company and I was looking after the Tamil Nadu operations of various brands. And thereafter, in 1993, I decided to take a sabbatical and tried my hand at travel and tourism, initially with Concord Tours and Travels, wherein I was already a partner. And after a couple of years of my service there at Concord Tours and Travels, I moved on. I thought inbound tourism was an interesting field, and that was a time when Kerala tourism was also getting into tourism in Kerala as a serious business. And I tagged along with them. And thereafter, there was no turning back. We moved ahead. And from Kerala, the lessons learned from Kerala as a tourist destination, I took advantage of that as well and started off our operations in Goa and thereon in Delhi, covering a pan-India operation, and then, of course, into Sri Lanka as well. And today we are present, as I said, in Nepal, Bhutan, North India, Central India, South India, as well as Sri Lanka and Maldives, with main focus on India as a tourist destination, also with special focus on Kerala, being from Kerala and where it all began. With regard to the ups and downs, I think there's been plenty of ups and downs, initially, especially when I started off without knowing what tourism was all about. There was always a downward trend in business. Thereafter, it slowly picked up. Then we had a smooth sailing for many years. Of course, in between, there was a little bit of, again, drops in business. It went on, and I guess it will continue that way till, I take my last breath, probably. Ups and downs are there in your life to continue. And all these downs, and I mean, whenever have got a problem, I think those are the basic foundation that you build your next growth on. And this is what I have to say as far as my initial beginning and where I am today. Thank you.
Almost 30 years, right? So almost 30 years in the industry now.
Close to 30 years, 22, yeah, close to 30 years in tourism. Yeah.
Great journey, great journey. So you have been doing great business in Goa. I'm sure you have tried your best to bring the business to Kerala also, because I am personally aware that how many times last maybe 6-7 years you have been trying to get this business to Kerala also, which is your own hometown also. Why do you think that we are still not able to meet the expectations of the customers when Kerala has everything?
You see, Kerala and Goa are two different destinations. Every destination has its peculiarity. Kerala is a destination which is laid out throughout the state, where we have the various attractions like the mountains, the beaches, the backwaters, the various culture, wellness, etc., etc. Wherein it makes it a very special interest kind of a destination apart from Goa, which is mainly a beach-bound tourism. And you will also, from your experience, I'm sure you'll appreciate the fact that beach segment is the largest segment, and Goa has a large stretch of good swimmable beaches. And also the activities on the beach are very conducive to attract large numbers of tourists. Unlike Kerala, which is a little different, and the beaches are not as lengthy or as attractive as the beaches of Goa. That is where the numbers are always attracted to Goa, but you do have more revenue per tourist when you look at Kerala per se, considering the fact the various attractions and the multifaceted, areas where the tourists can come in and experience. It is not that Kerala is in any way inferior to Goa. Kerala has its peculiarities. If you remember, my first charter operations was to Kerala much before Goa, wherein you were also a partner with me, and you played a big role as far as the accommodation is concerned. And those days, I think you had one of the largest inventory also.
Yeah.
And we still have a lot of obligation towards you for supporting that movement at that time. But thereon I experienced, and from the feedback, etc., we found that Kerala is not a mass destination. It can be if suppose we exploit all the beaches that we have, even if you look at towards northern Kerala, we've got some wonderful beaches. If we can transform those beaches into an attractive beach destination, I'm sure Kerala will also attract large numbers like Goa or Maldives or even Mauritius or Langkawi, any of these big destinations like Cuba, etc. So it all depends. The draw of numbers depends on the destination. It has to be a natural draw, whether it's a special interest tourist or the large numbers. So it is not that Kerala is in any way inferior, but Goa has got its peculiarities wherein it can take, and the number of rooms, the inventories on the beach is also very, very high as compared to Kerala.
Very true, sir. Thank you very much. How are you managing this year inbound, and what are your plans to cover up your losses? Because as inbound, this year has been totally bad. So what are your plans?
You see, this year, if you ask me, there is much more planning that we are doing compared to any other year. The reason is there was a sudden stoppage in business if I remember, the 16th of March or so, when country was locked down by the government of central government because of the pandemic, and the situation warranted that kind of a lockdown at that time. We were helpless, but we had to put up with the situation, and we were all locked down at our homes, doing nothing for the next 1.5, 2 months or so. Thereafter, immediately, I called upon all my officers, staff, everybody, and said, we don't know when this pandemic is going to finish. We have to be prepared, not for today, not for tomorrow, maybe for months ahead when things are going to normalize. So what I've done is we had a lot of changes, we adapted a lot of we had to adapt a lot of the situation in a very different manner, considering the current scenario. As such, we had to put in a work culture which is today nothing but planning and preparing for the day when the country is going to open up to the rest of the world, where the borders are going to invite tourists from other parts of the world as well. So currently we are prepared every day. We are very, very busy even today. We are still in touch with all our partners. They're also eagerly waiting to come to India when situation improves. And this contact with them and the touch with them or the relationship with them has strengthened much, much more than what it was. Everybody are worried. Everybody needs each other's support, each other's sympathies, etc. at this juncture. And this is what we are doing now, and we're preparing basically for the coming season. Yeah, thanks, Raj.
Fantastic. So there are big brands in the market who already have the international fame and the name. But you are at the moment doing a great job by creating an impact to get business from Russia. What are the qualities you have or your company, and when you compare to your competitors, what is that you have that extra? Like I'm sure I don't have to name the companies which are already big brands in the market, but you're equally doing fabulous jobs. What is that extra thing which you think that the customers are coming back to you, or your partners are working back with you?
Yeah, you see, there is nothing extra as such which we are doing, because you see, the end commodity is a customer, the tourist. So whether I am able to get the tourists into my company or my competitor takes him away, it is nothing but we are all offering the same at the end of the day. It is nothing but how we go and manage that. It depends on it depends on a lot of factors. One is probably pricing, how best we can, package our holidays, how best we can convince the client that you are going into a safer, organization, or I wouldn't say safer, or you're going into a better or a more, you would be looked after much more carefully than, or you'll be looked after much better than a larger player could, more human touch, etc. And basically, the platform is same for everybody, whether big or small. It is basically the attitude that makes you compete with the big players as well. And of course, your team has to be very, very motivated. And your team cannot, and in no way, I've always told them that you are second to none. You are first. So that confidence that you are in a smaller company should never be there when you're competing with another company or a bigger company. Bigger means what? It may be the turnover, the presence, or their reach to the rest of the world. But I'm also focused. We're also focused in our own areas. We have our own strengths by way of our relationship. And the highly motivated team who always have been told to think, and they've been made to think they're second to none. They are the best. You are the best. So go for it and never worry about another competing area or somebody who can dissuade you from moving ahead. Yeah, thank you.
So, being one of the biggest operator in tourism, being the SCOL president of Cochin, what are the suggestions and the thoughts you have to put the tourism ministry or to the fraternity and other association to bring Kerala back to the limelight?
You see, Kerala tourism, as I said, has its own peculiar activities, or destination is very peculiar compared to other destinations. For that matter, every destination has its own peculiarity. What we need to address is on our strengths. How do we cement our base? How do we strengthen our foundation? We already have a set advantages, some advantages which are more than the other destinations. Like, for example, our literacy rate in the state, safety factor, health factor, cleanliness, awareness. Awareness is a big factor when people come in India. They fear that whether have they seen a foreigner, have they seen an outsider. Kerala is very, very different from all that. I would say tourism in Kerala the Department of Tourism should synchronize with all other departments as well in the government to ensure that tourism or tourists coming in here feel safe, feels that they are wanted here, and when they come in here, they also get their money's worth.
Correct.
Another advice I would have towards the government of Kerala is that always remember the commodity is elsewhere. It is very fragile. We cannot think in Kerala. We can't think as Kerala. We have to think as the world.
Global, yeah.
How do we convince them? For a traveler sitting in any part of the world, he has got Kerala, he has got North India, he has got Maldives, he's got Cuba, he's got Russia, he's got various destinations to go to plan his holiday. How do we entice them to come to Kerala? We have to think for him. A person, I'm talking about inbound, basically tourists coming from other parts of the world. We have to think for him, and we have to move in such a way that his thoughts are always focused towards Kerala, and the reasons therein should be convincing so that the tourist comes to Kerala. Our strengths should be the reason why any tourist should come into Kerala.
Thank you, sir. How do you foresee our industry, tourism and hotels next year, 2021?
You see, 2021, now we are in the month of, say, November. For example, for my company as such, our season starts on the 1st of October and it goes on till May. But in general, I think most seasons are between, say, mid-December to the peak season from mid-December to, say, probably end April or mid-April. We still have time. If you look at the pandemic, the numbers are dropping. The vaccine is just very close. And I think considering these factors, if the government decides to open up the visas, tourist visas, the borders and the flights to India, only then Kerala will also benefit. Then we will have an equal or maybe even a better season than the previous years.
Very true.
The summer season is gone. Many destinations were season wherein we have an advantage. Since a lot of work and a lot of money is spent in controlling the pandemic and the vaccine, etc., and we are very close to, fully sort of controlling this virus matter, we should, I think, simultaneously as tourism department or the home ministry, etc., should plan in such a way that we move parallelly to target our customers right away. Maybe we can think of, say, by 15th December, the borders are going to be open, airlines are going to be ready, and vaccines are going to start. Maybe sometime then, or when we are going to be sort of ready by 15th December. Now itself, they should start opening up the borders. And if they do that, we will have a better season than 2020. Or else, we will have a lull, kind of a season now before the storm, which will be the 2021, 22 probably. So that is a very long, it's a long time. But now I think time is conducive to start. Maldives has started. For example, Diwali time, Indian tourists were the maximum numbers who were in Maldives. So there is no reason why others, if we capitalize on all this and showcase to the world that Maldives are filled with Indian tourists, there's no reason why these tourists from other parts of the world shouldn't come into India. They will also be waiting. If Maldives can welcome Indians, others can come into India as well.
Very true, sir. I really agree with you. So what will be your advice to the young hospitality budding leaders in the industry and their future? How should they groom themselves with the present situation? And also, what will be your advice for them to, be successful in the hospitality industry?
See, hospitality tourism is no rocket science. I always feel that this industry is driven by passion. It is a lot of man-to-man relationship which comes into tourism. By passion, I mean a hobby. Tourism should be, in other words, kind of a hobby for you, wherein you enjoy dealing with the tourists coming in, where you enjoy equipping yourself and look after the sustainability of the destination, care for it, and also the people who are involved. You should ensure that everybody benefits from tourism. Tourism is not by one company alone. It is a whole gamut of things which, from the time you land at the airport, the immigration, to the taxi, to the experience of the destination, to the people around, the sounds, the smell, everything is part of tourism. So to the youngsters, I would say, one, skill yourself very much. As far as any field of tourism is concerned, you should be qualified. You should go for today there are a lot of avenues, a lot of availability of material, a lot of education, schools. That should be your base. You should qualify yourself if you think this is going to be a career and if you have a passion towards it. Read up and never make the mistake what another person has already made. Learn from those mistakes, what's already done by others. Don't wait for your mistakes to happen to learn from that, because this is a very perishable kind of an activity. If you lose the business, it doesn't come back to you. You cannot make up for it another day.
Right.
So always be prepared, always be alert, and you should be passionate enough to work 24/7 if possible.
Superb, sir. Superb. Thank you. I think it was very inspirational to talk with you, and thank you very much for the time you have given to me and the kind of discussion what I had with you. It was really wonderful, and I'm sure that in fact, I have taken a lot of notes when you said a lot of things, and it was a fabulous day, sir. Thank you very much for coming to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Raj. It was a pleasure being with you this morning.